for today. Chase Boutwell, who's going to be fighting at the UMMAF National Championships that's going down between May 26th through May 28th. It's a 3-day tournament. We got the bantamweight right here. Chase Boutwell, how you doing?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome, man. So is this something different for you? I know you've only got 2 fights. It's a tournament. I mean, what's this going to help you with, going through this kind of an experience?
I mean, I never fought 3 days in a row, but, with wrestling, some days we got those 3-day tournaments and we got to cut weight 2 days in a row. So I'm used to cutting like, a little bit of weight every day, but, fighting 3 days in a row is a little bit more physically draining. You're going to be sore, you're getting kicked in the legs. That's one thing that I'm kind of like wondering how it's going to be like, is like how it's going to be like to respond, getting punched, and then having to fight the next day.
So what are your coaches saying about this? I mean, from your past training camps or, fight camps, what's different about this one, to prepare for?
Man, the only thing that's really different is the diet. We got to get down there naturally. Usually I kind of just slack off and then get down to about 10 pounds out, 7 pounds out, and just cut the water weight out. Training wise, just hitting mitt and everything, just the regular stuff is just the same. I train hard for everything, so I just do as hard as I can every time, but the diet's what's going to change this time.
So something that our listeners don't know about you, but they're about to find out, is that you're still in high school. So are you in class right now, or where are you?
I just left school about an hour ago. I'm at home right now, but Friday's my last day of high school, so pretty excited about that.
Well, because when I was in high school, it was the football players walking around in their football jerseys, the wrestlers and their their ties and stuff. I mean, are you pretty well known in your high school as the guy who's an amateur MMA fighter, or do you have a couple of them in your school?
I'm the only person that does MMA. I have a buddy. He's one of my good friends. He trains too. He's on fight. Yeah, he's only 16. We train together, but I'm pretty quiet. I don't really talk to that many people like that. Some people know, my good friends know, but other than that, I don't really tell people, go around flaunting it. If they find out, it's usually on their own.
So what about the wrestling team? Do you hang out with the wrestling team a lot? Have you wrestled before in the past? I mean, you're kind of just brushing on that.
I hang out with just a couple of the wrestlers. Our wrestling team, or the wrestling in Georgia at Macon isn't that big, so the wrestling team's only about 7 or 8 guys that are really committed. I hang out with them, but that's about it.
So this upcoming fight, man, do you know who you're going to be fighting first in the tournament?
From my understanding, it's just they're going to put the brackets together the day of, or we don't really get a chance to see. But I do know that the NFC champion, flyweight champion, is going to be my division. So I hope I get go against him. So that'd be a pretty fun fight. I don't really know much about the other guys, but I'm pretty excited for it.
Well, we just actually had Big Sexy on to talk about it a little bit, and you actually, like I said, you have 2 fights and you're on a 2-fight win streak. You fought at Valor Fights 41, and then the recent card with Warrior FC versus Valor Fights. Which was the better experience so far? I know you've only had 2, but which one is kind of more memorable?
The last fight was definitely more memorable. I got dropped in the first and second round, and I had to come back from that, and that was definitely more memorable. The first fight kind of went like the picture book. Submitted the guy in the first round.
Yep.
He shout out to him though. He was a late replacement. Like less than 24 hours. So both fights were pretty memorable, but the second one was definitely it was a war. So it was something I'll never forget.
So you went in there for your first fight. You got the win, first round stoppage by submission. I mean, what did that feel like?
Man, it felt great. It was everything I was hoping it would be. After the submission, after he tapped, I was, I felt great. Seeing my family there and all the people I trained with. I jumped up on the cage. I looked at all of them. That was, I'll never forget those moments like that. That was probably the best part of the fight for me. After I beat him and I got to see everybody cheering, everybody's happy.
You're so young, man. So how's your family deal with that? I mean, you said in your last fight you got dropped twice. We just saw Eddie Alvarez, fighting. Every time he fights, his wife's there screaming at the top of her lungs. This has been going on for years. Is that kind of what your mom does when you fight?
I'm not really sure, but sometimes I can pick her voice out. I know my first fight I got slammed a couple of times. Just started crying. I'm not sure what happened this last fight, but I'd say it might be the same reaction. I don't really know. I should ask her though.
Well, you know what, man? At this day and age, it's 2017. People are becoming more educated on this sport. I mean, back in 1993, no one had any idea. I mean, I remember walking in Blockbusters and seeing UFC. I didn't know if that was like a WWF or what it was
Yeah.
really. But now, people are really understanding. And even with the grappling and stuff like that, people aren't getting so bored with that. And I always say it, we're going to see a new era of fighters come up. So somebody that's going to be at this 3-day tournament is Matt Hughes. Who are some of the guys that you've looked up to, coming up?
When I first started watching the sport, my first favorite fighter was Chuck Liddell, just because he'd be getting there, he would brawl it out. Obviously GSP. I said in previous or one of my last interviews, he was like the Conor McGregor before Conor McGregor came along. Minus the talk, but the skills wise, it was there. And then recently, like some of the fighters I look up to now are Donald Cerrone, just because his attitude's great. He'll fight anybody. Fair. Yeah. Conor McGregor, I like how he thinks outside the box and does things other people don't.
So do you keep up with UFC, Bellator? Are you a guy that's always tuning in?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just want to just not watch anything that has related to MMA because I do it so much. Sometimes it's just you want to do something different.
Yeah.
But if one of my favorite fighters are fighting or somebody who's interesting is fighting, I'll definitely tune in and watch. So it just depends.
I have seen fighters in the past say, like, while they're active, I've talked to them when they're retired, and they're like, I didn't like watching fights when I was an active fighter because it kind of gave me anxiety. It kind of gave me a little bit of anxiety knowing what they were going through. But you know what? We just had a UFC 211 go down this weekend. Were you able to catch that?
I caught the highlights of it. I didn't stay up. I was actually working that night. I came home at about 10 or 11, and I was just tired. I went to bed. But,
So you're working, you're training, you're going to school. I mean, bring us through one day of your life for our listeners here. What's a day like?
Regular Monday, for right now, I wake up, I go to school, come home, train, come back home at about, 9, 9:30, take a shower, do a little bit of homework sometimes, and then go to sleep. And Monday through Friday, that's about my routine. And Saturday and Sunday, Sunday I don't train at all. I just work pretty much. But Friday, school, I'll go to work, then come home. And Saturdays is where I pretty much mix it all together. Work, and then I go train, and then I come home.
So you're training with Rush MMA Gym. Your coach is Bubby Mitchell. What's that like training with him?
It's great, man. He has so many tools that a lot of coaches don't have. He has great striking, great jiu-jitsu, and great wrestling. Not a lot of coaches have all three. Usually at least missing one of them. But not only I got Bubby, I got training partners. Lathan Lawson, he's a fighter for Valor. Quentin Culpepper, Homer Mangrum. All those guys. They always help me out, and everybody else has something different to offer. They all got different point of views that I like to pick at.
Well, before we let you go, we always have to ask this question. What can everybody expect when they tune into Flo Combat to check out your fight?
Man, they could expect me going out there and putting it all on the line, whatever I got, everything I got, whoever's in front of me, they're going to catch it.
And lastly, we are going to hand the imaginary microphone over to you if you have any sponsors, shout-outs, you want to wish luck to your opponents, the tournament. Guys, the floor is all yours now.
Let me give a shout-out to my training partners. I usually forget some, but I'm not going to forget it today. Let me give a shout out to Quentin Culpepper, Lathan Lawson, Homer Mangrum, Jake Clevenger, Justin Barnwell, Kevin Smith, and anybody else I may have forgot, which I'm pretty sure I didn't. Obviously Bubby Mitchell, my parents. That's about it, man.
It's always hard to name everybody because you got to, thank the guys who are helping you cut weight, the diet, everything. Everyone's got to be thanked. It's hard to deal with a fighter, especially on fight week,
Yep. Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best of skill, and thank you for stopping by Pure Evil MMA.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the interview.